Hello, my name is Pierre Sabak. I am the author of The Murder of Reality, Hidden Symbolism of the Dragon. Today we are on location at a church in the city of Leeds. I'm just going to go through some of the symbolism of the church. Earlier we showed you a photograph of the cross with a circle. This represents the zodiac sign, which is a symbol of the solar disk and the cross. Within the Greek we see that the cardinal points are represented by the initials of Adam. So at one level we see that there's a relationship between the symbol of man, which can be represented as Adam, and the solar disk, which is identified with the serpent. This, of course, within Christian symbolism represents the crucified man. This in itself is interchangeable with the crucified serpent. Now, looking at the church, we see that the church points are aligned up to the cardinal points. In addition, we can see that there is a swastika, the German word Kreuz, which means a crooked cross. It's also a pun on the Babylonian word Akan, which means a seraph. In the Anglo-Saxon language, Ak, which is a serpent. So the crooked cross represents the serpent and the cross. Now, the symbol of the zodiac sign is interesting because in the Jewish traditions, in the Midrash talks about that the mark of Cain is symbolized with the circle and the cross. In Genesis, the mark of Cain is issued to Cain, who murdered his brother Abel. Now, there are some interesting word plays. At one level, Cain is a pun on the Old Semitic word for red, Canaan, which means red, or the red dye used to put on a ewe or on a sheep. But we see also that the word red goes back to Adam, Adam meaning red, and Adam or Adamah, which is the earth, the red earth. Earlier on I've made allusions to the fact that the red earth can symbolize Mars, which is Mahadim, literally Miadim or Mahadim, from Adam. So from Adam is a signifier of Mars. The four cardinal points themselves are used to denote Adam. Now, looking at the crooked cross, the swastika, inside of the center of the crooked cross is the midnight sun, or the black sun. So we see that the rays of the solar disk, which can be represented by the cross, or you've also got the cross within a cross, which represents the 8 cardinal points. Now, there are other signifiers with the church as well. We can see that there's a palm tree. Now, this palm tree is very incongruous with the rest. Is very much out of place and is incongruous. Now, the palm tree is a pun because in the Greek word for palm tree, phonix or phoenix, is a symbol. The palm tree is a symbol of the phoenix. Now, within the Semitic languages, tamar, which is a palm tree, is punned with tamin, which means childlike. So the palm tree is connected both to the phoenix or is connected to the child. The child, a symbol of transfiguration, and again this would be connected to the palm cross, which is a symbol of the cardinal points or the zodiac points. So in other words, the crucifixion of Christ, or the crucifixion of man, is identified with transfiguration and is connected to the heavens. Right, there are some more interesting symbols we can find as well. We see that there is a black clock. On the outside of the clock are 12 rays, which are the 12 rays of the sun. This represents the 12 mansions of the zodiac. This symbolically is registered with the 12 disciples. Also, we can see that the sun is black, so this is the black sun. Now, the symbolism of the black sun, or the hidden sun, is obviously a reference to the western sun. The western sun would interrelate with the, Rab, which is the setting sun in the Syrian language, Rabbi, which is west, and Rabbi, which is a teacher. So the teachers themselves are represented with the black sun. Now, the symbol of the black sun is the western sun. In many respects, can be compared to the planet Saturn. In many respects, Saturn can be compared to the Western Sun. Saturn, like the Sun, is an unformed star. Now, Saturn comes from the word satar, the Arabic word meaning to hide. So this is the hidden side of the Sun, and is related to Shaitani, which is division, or Shaitan, which is the adversary or the opposer. So the black sun is a symbol of Saturn, which can be registered with the setting sun and the rabbi priesthood. Mythology, Saturn is illustrated by the god Kronos. Kronos is the god of time, and so we see that the black sun here in this instance is represented with the clock, or Kronos, which is the god of time. Time, or the setting sun, is linked in with the death cults and the cult of Aten. We see that the sun, the solar device, is an important symbol in terms of Sunday as well, the holy day. The holy day is a celebration of Sunday. We see on the church, though, that the sun is a black sun, which is paralleled or twinned to the planet Saturn, which is connected to Satan. In the Hebrew language, the word shabtai, which is Saturn, has the additional meaning to satiate. This would be through ritual or through rites. But we see also that there's an etymological connection within the English language. So, for example, Saturn is related to the English word to satiate. So there is obviously a reference here between the communion, the 12 disciples, Kronos, Saturn. The symbols themselves are multi-layered, and overlaying the plan of the sun is the cross. So the solar sun, or the black sun, and the cross represents the 12 mansions and the disciples. The black sun in this respect would be the Christ. So, just to wind things up, we see that the cross is connected to the sun and to Sunday, or the Sabbath. In addition, there's a duality within the priesthood, which is represented by the Western sun, which is symbolized by the rabbi. But we also see the symbol of the Eastern sun as well, which is represented as the rising star. Now, within Islam, we see that the Islamic calendar is lunar, but the lunar calendar and the solar calendar are split, both with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Okay, we've had to move location slightly, but just to sum up the symbolism of the church, we see that the Sunday is connected to the worship of the sun. There is obviously the dual signifier of the black sun, which is connected to the planet Saturn. But in relation also, the priesthood itself is connected to the Eastern sun, and this is represented by the moon. So, for example, Judaism and Islam, they celebrate their days on Friday, which signifies the moon. So, for example, the Hebrew word koma, which is a priest, is a variation on the Arabic word kamar, which is the moon. So we see the division within the priesthood, which can be represented by the planet Saturn, which, as we said earlier, is Satan. That the planet Saturn is also connected to Venus, which is the morning and the evening star. This in Freemasonry is represented by the black and the white square. The white square would represent Venus, the black square would represent Saturn. So looking at the split within the priesthood represented itself through duality, signified as the split within the priesthood.